Wonder Women of the world. Welcome back. This is from the other location, which has better internet. So this is continuation of day 2 of week 6, which is Introduction to JavaScript. And we started exploring what we call operations on strings. What does that mean? Well, we are doing things to a list of letters. And it's not just letters, but also special characters, which we call strings. I hope maybe this is even better. And I thought that we could use the Q&A time to finish up the lecture, and also I can add more time to the Q&A. I'm seeing amazing interaction already in Discord. Some of you are already asking for help from mentors. Awesome, to get your JavaScript files running. Love it. Fantastic. All right. So let's get back to our coding here. Ladies, tell me please if this is better. Please tell me, is the video stream better? I maybe on scale of 1 to 10 on a smoothness. Ideally, it should be seamless. You should just see a regular YouTube video without anything special. It was just the buffering was not good earlier. Much better. Wonderful. All right. So this is what we saw earlier, was that we can add strings together. If we do the plus sign within the string, then it's actually not an operation. It is just a string, and it will print out as a plus sign. However, if we keep them outside of the exclamation marks, then they become what we call operators. They operate on different elements, and they actually add these together. So we could do Jess Sanchez plus team, and it just puts them together without a space. So if we want space, then we have to add our own space. If we use a comma, it's similar, but the comma is intelligent enough, it knows to add a space. There are also some illegal things which we are not allowed to do with letters. So for example, in Python this was legal. Blink times 4 gave loop blink, 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 but in JavaScript this is illegal. Well, not technically illegal, it doesn't break the code, but the result will be not a number. If you divide by 3, it's also not a number. However, you can add number to letters. You cannot subtract from a number from letters. However, you can subtract a number from a string if this string can be translated into a real number. Now, this is completely illegal in Python, to be honest, this last one here. You would have to, does anybody remember what you have to do? You have to convert them into the same type. And yesterday we talked about what the primitive types, data types were. Numbers and strings are primitive data types. So in order for this in Python to work, you would need to do something like turn this into an integer. So quotation 333 would turn into an integer 333. And then you could subtract. Okay, so this is different in JavaScript. And what's happening here, if you watched the video, is that under the hood, without you seeing, there is a type conversion. And this type conversion happens because this minus sign asks for it. This minus sign, these are specific vocabulary. I'm just going to say it because if you're Googling or searching, sometimes you cannot solve your own problem if you don't know what words to search for. But if you know the words, the vocabulary, then you can search for it. And this is called a type conversion. It converts the type from a string to a number before actually doing the calculation. Okay, the video was good, Ilona. It made me laugh or smile. Awesome. Yes, JavaScript has a lot of under the hood. So, fantastic. Let's have a look. Before we go any further, we should try to understand that 12 is a number, but quotation mark 12 is a string of 2 digits. Let's work on that in our console. So 12 here is a number. I can try to make it a little bigger. And 12, you see it has different color, is a string of 2 digits. Let's try adding them together and see how these will work. So we will add two numbers. We will add, if we add two numbers, we expect 24. That's fantastic. What do you expect if we add the string 12 and the string 12 together? That's actually a really hard question, to be honest. And the truth is you have to test it, because it's possible that JavaScript understands that these are numbers and gives us 24, or it's possible that it keeps them as strings and will just print out 1, 2, 1, 2. This is the difficulty with dynamically typed languages. Python, for example, is more strict, and C++ is very strict. So in C++, it will be extremely clear that you will get 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's see. Okay, so if both types were strings, it didn't perform any, what is the keyword we learned today? Type conversion. Okay. I think this is fairly important keyword, so I'm going to put a comment here. We learned new vocabulary, which is type conversion. The string type 333 got converted to number type. Okay. Shall we also try multiplication? So we will take 2 times 5, should behave as we thought. And now you know 2 times 5 also behave because we received a type conversion for free. This is really interesting. People are very opinionated about this, if I may tell you. Usually people love the type of language they work in. So you will see C++ developers or Python developers will be really upset and they'll say, oh, JavaScript is doing all these type conversions. Oh, I hate that because I don't know what to expect. But those who like the flexibility appreciate this kind of receiving it for free. Okay, and how about if we print something like quotation marks 2 star 5? We just get it as a string. It's the digit number 2, then a space, then a star sign, then a space, then a number sign, number 5 sign. So these are individual strings. Okay. How about if we try to do something like multiply 2 people's names together? Could I have some volunteers, please? Let's have two names together. While I'm waiting for the volunteers who would like their names to be multiplied, we can also look at single and double quotation marks. So yesterday we talked about, you're awesome. In double quotation marks is better because now we have the single quotation mark on the inside, it's fine. But if I try to do the same with a single quotation mark, now the computer is confused because it says, well, you opened a single quotation mark here and you're closing a single quotation mark here. I have no idea what you want to do with the rest. So this, you see unexpected syntax error, unexpected identifier. Can we fix this somehow? Could we maybe escape it? This is the escape character that you saw earlier. It means, tells the computer, please, whatever's after this, I actually meant this to be inside a string. And now it works, and when it prints it out, you'll see that it converted this implicit escape into a single apostrophe. Please know that I'm always myself. So if you try to escape, I didn't like Saturday. So if you try to escape something that is a regular character and doesn't have special meaning, then it doesn't show up. And if you escape the escape character, you must always, the escape character itself always must be escapable, otherwise you can't show it. So this is escaping. Okay, Sarah, we're never partial at all. Okay, Mara and Sarah. So let's see, we have the 2 volunteers. Can we have, is it illegal for us to do something like this. Sorry, no H. And what's very interesting that it was legal. So in Python, you actually get an error, I think, if I'm correct. But in JavaScript, you don't get an error. What you get is you get a result, which is a number, which is not a number. So it's very interesting because it doesn't break your code. It just gives you not a number as result. Okay. So these are some of the specialties. And this is all fine, but what if we don't want to type, sorry, what if we don't want to, day 2. What if we don't want to type these console logs so many times? Well, actually in the beginning of your career, I'll take this back. Throughout all of your programming career in JavaScript, you will do variations of the console log. Sometimes just like this, sometimes a bit in a more advanced way, but you often want to unpack and see what's inside a section of code. And one of the best ways of doing it is to print it out or logging it to the console. So you will do things, but we might want to store some of this information so that we don't have to repeat ourselves. So far, whenever we printed a string or a number, the thing we printed is gone. What I mean is if we wanted to print something out twice, we would have to type it in twice. So you can say that again, you can say that again. Let's try that. So if we wanted to do this 2 or 3 times, we have to type it in 2 or 3 times. Let's save it and run it. You can say that again, you can say that again. Okay. Well, but we have a principle in software engineering. This is really, really important. If you remember just this from today, it will be awesome. Which is, don't repeat yourself. It's not enough to be lazy. As programmers, we want to be aggressively and proactively lazy. I'll say it again. When coding, be lazy, but not just lazy, but aggressively, proactively lazy. And what does that mean? It means it would be really nice if we could just type it once and hang on to it, to store it somewhere. Well, of course we can do this. It would have been insensitive to bring it up otherwise. So to store a string or a number, actually, in your computer's memory for use later in your program, you need to give the string or the number a name. It's not just strings, of course, you can, any data type you can store. So if you, can I quiz you ladies, how many primitive data types are there in JavaScript? And how many total data types are there in JavaScript? This is your quiz, please type it in. How many primitive and how many total data types are there in JavaScript? You get brownie points if you tell me which ones they are. Awesome. Oh my gosh, all of you are passing. Good, good, good. You all remember. Yes, and Rox got it right too this time. So 6 primitive and 7 total, absolutely. And the object is the only one that's not primitive, and it's very, very broad. It encompasses all the complex data types. Okay, so we can store all of these as long as we will give it a name. Programmers often refer to this process as assignment. Let's make this bold. You make something bold in Markdown by putting double stars around it. And they call the names variables. So let's practice with our variable naming. I think Mara and Sarah were the first one, so I think they will receive a preference. So name 1, we can say Mara. Name 2, we can say Sarah. Yeah. If we save these, nothing happened. Why did nothing happen here? Because when you assign and store data in a variable, it means you still haven't actually used it. And because we haven't used it yet, it didn't show up. So now what we can do is we can console log them. Sorry, log. And now I can do something like name1. Be careful here if you're a complete beginner. If you do well, let's do both ways. Let's do it first. I'll show you. Oh, Mara, and we got Mara from line 33. Looks correct. And this is what coding really is. You try to get to some sort of output, and then you try it and see if you got the output that you wanted. Well, I got it. Okay, so this program's running. What if we previously, this is the first time you see this, previously we always put quotation marks around everything that we put inside our console log. Do you see the difference? This is quite important for beginners, and sometimes you'll forget this. If you put quotation marks around it, it means I exactly want what's inside here as it is written here. So we can compare these two. You see? So here, whatever was within the quotation marks is what's printed, so it's name1. But we cannot access what's stored inside the variable. If we want to access what's stored inside the variable, we cannot use these apostrophes. And we just say name1. So can we also do magic with them? Of course. We can have name1, name2. We can have name1 plus name2. We can have name1 times name2. And let's see what we get. So we got Mara, Sarah, and not a number. And now you start combining what you have learned. Ooh, Ramila says, Boolean null undefined number string symbol. Fabulous. And the 7th, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well done, Ramila. Welcome back. It's so great to see you. By the way, can I just give a round of applause to Ramila here? She is joining us from Sri Lanka, from an amazing personal story through, may I tell this, Ramila, to others about your mom? Please type it in if I may tell your story very briefly. And it's thanks to her that we have so many women from Sri Lanka having joined us, because she reached out to me and asked if we could do a webinar for a local group. We did that. She did outreach throughout her very strong network that she spent years building. And I'm going to wait for her permission to share her story with all of you. She says yes. Okay. So it's my understanding, and Ramila, please correct me while this is loading, but it's my understanding that you are at the university right now on a scholarship, and you're joining us every day from the bunk bed, from the top of the bunk bed, listening through your earphones so that you don't disturb the other students around you. And she has managed to achieve this by herself, because unfortunately she lost her mother in the tsunami. And so here's an example right there and she became a volunteer first as a country coordinator for 1 Million Women to Tech in Sri Lanka. She's also running Girls in Tech networks, and is just one of the most amazing human beings you'll see. So this is the kind of network you're part of being here, and I'm always so grateful to have you, Ramila. So thank you. And she's a fantastic technologist, as you can tell. By the way, she's doing software engineering, going to finish soon. All right, so ladies, we have covered some basic manipulation around strings today. You can also store numbers. So we have we had, let's say, someone's age. If we have, let's say, age equals 32, again, if I store it, nothing will happen, so I would have to print it out in order to see the age. But now we can do things like, okay, age in, oh, we are now in JavaScript, so I can change age in milliseconds. Okay, and now we can do things like maths. So 32 times 365 days per week times 24 hours times 60 minutes, 60 seconds, and 1000 milliseconds. And here we go. So now I've shown you how to use your computer as a very, 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 very expensive calculator. All you need is a browser and a text editor. Technically speaking, you can also do it in the browser without the text editor, but of course if you do that, you will lose everything as soon as you close it, versus with the text editor, you can save your work and continue tomorrow. Let me give you some interesting exercises, actually. A few things that you can try. One of the things is music. So how many of you have ever played or at least listened to music? What you will know is, let's say the middle A is often around 440 hertz, if I recall. Feel free to fix this if I was off. And 1 octave, so is double the frequency. Yeah. So for a what is called a tempered piano will have basically, I think, the A dash at 880 hertz. What's interesting is that 1 octave is actually 12 notes. So if we look at a piano image, okay, so if we look at an image here from, let's say, this A here to this A here, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there are 12 notes, 12 half notes here. What I wanted to ask you, if you're up for the challenge, is to calculate and console log each of the 12 notes between A and A dash. Okay, and this requires some mathematics going on here because this is not a linear scale, right? You cannot just divide it by 12 because it's a geometric scale. Hint. Sorry, console log the frequency of each of these 12 with a sharp hint. The notes are not in a linear scale, but in a geometric scale. Okay, this is a little bit mind-bending, you can think about it. The second thing to try is planets. So my question to you is, again, calculate and console log how many minutes the moon travels in a day. How many minutes the moon travels in a day. This is a bit tricky. Hint. First, calculate how many degrees it travels in the sky when the Earth returns to the same position during its rotation. Oops, you can't see the bottom. Sorry, so sorry. Let me just do it again. This planet. Calculate and console log how many minutes the moon travels in a day. Hint. First calculate how many degrees the moon travels. No. The moon travels in the sky when the Earth returns to the same position during its daily rotation. Okay, so let's say if the Earth is pointing to, I don't know, a specific star far away, and then the Earth rotates 1 time around, by the time the moon has moved a little bit to this side. Or if we do it this way in a circle, then if the Earth was looking up this way, by the time the Earth rotates around, the moon has moved a little bit. So try to calculate how many degrees that is, and then transform that into minutes of travel time for the Earth. These are mind bogglers. I will discuss these with you tomorrow. Submission guidelines. Create a single file name, week 5, and zip. This is the same as yesterday. And please wait until the end of the week. So submission guidelines are going to remain the same. Good. This is it for today in terms of numbers, letters, and variables. Let me see what kind of questions you have. Ooh, let's. Yeah. Rock says, I'm correct, the middle A is 440 Hertz. Great. Yes, please help me also with the notation. I did play piano for 7 years, but I was in Hungary as a very young child. So if it needs tweaking, feel free to correct what I was searching. The main point is I want you to start thinking and calculating the geometric scale within music. And Nekrins. Even work for a piano constructor. Wow, where I had to adjust the strings to the right hertz. Annie, fantastic. So you will be the one that I will ask tomorrow to check us, okay? So this I think I would like to calculate with all of you together tomorrow, if that's okay. Virginia says, where can we upload the hackathon submission? I have to submit before leaving. Awesome, awesome. So the hackathon, I would prefer, and I have requested earlier that you submit always. Oh, I see what you're saying. I didn't create it. I didn't create the folder. Is what you're saying, Virginia? The hackathon submission, I always ask that you send a pull request, because this way it is publicly shown that with timestamp when you've submitted. If I haven't created the hackathon submission, is what you're saying, right? Week 1 hackathon submissions. Week 5. Oh, you're very right. Thank you. Thank you. So I will push this up, Virginia. Actually, I could do this probably now. And that way you can as week 1, but in JavaScript. Yeah, so I can just push it up for now as a placeholder and fill out the details more. Fantastic. Thank you. Ramila Aziz, even though 10 minus 2 gets the type conversion and gives 8 answer. 10 plus 2 prints 102. What's the reason in low? Now, that's a very good question. I can tell you this is, Ramila has an advanced question here. Sorry, not Sublime, source tree. I'll answer Ramila's question in one moment. I just want to make sure that Virginia has the, here you go, week 5. Add hackathon, upload hackathon submission folder for PRs. So, Ramila, this has to do, and I want to do 2 things. First, I want to explain to you with my own words, and then we will look up the actual MDN reference, because in JavaScript world, there is so much hidden type conversion going on that we have to be actually careful as developers, and it's good practice to look things up. Okay, so make sure I make a pull request. Fabulous. So now you have this place to push to. Let me put this here in the link. Fantastic. Thank you, Virginia. Okay. Ramila says, why is it that, let's look at Ramila's examples. They're really, really good. So 10 minus 2 does the type conversion and we get 8, but 10 plus 2 doesn't. And it's how, yeah, because the plus operator and the minus operator, these are called operators, have different implicit type conversions. What an English sentence, huh? The plus and the minus operator have different implicit type conversions. Okay, what does that mean? Implicitly, a plus sign, I believe, will only... Now, and I think if we flip it, do we get difference? If we flip it, then it does... No, it didn't. Because I remember the plus sign actually has some weird things because the left side and the right side gets converted differently, right? This was in the video. Yeah, yeah, you see, so this is a good example. If I add an object and an array together with the plus sign, I get 0 as the output. If I reverse the order and I do an array first and then the object, I get object, object. So that means that the left side and the right side implicitly, when it's converting types, it's actually working differently, Ramila. And the way to look it up is to go, I like the MDN documentation the most. So actually I would do MDN JavaScript plus type conversion and see what it does. Equality comparisons and sameness, type conversion, let's have a look. Comparison operators. Operators attempt to convert the object to primitive value. Let's see. This is a good example. I wanted to cover this a little later. So we have, I mentioned very briefly that there are 3 types of equal signs in JavaScript. The first one we did today, which is assigning a variable. So I need to, it's a little hard because this question is quite advanced. So if you're a beginner, please don't worry too much. the first type of equal sign that we did today is the first type of equal sign is the one we did today. This is a single equal sign, and on the left hand side is always where you store things, so it's the variable, and on the right hand side is always the thing that you're going to store in there. And on the right hand side it can be, you can actually have something that evaluates, so you can have some sort of operations happening on the right hand side, and when that finishes, all of it gets dumped into the left hand side. You cannot have the opposite, you cannot do the opposite, so you cannot switch the order. You cannot say, I've seen this before with beginners, so I just want to say this, like equals age 2, this is illegal, so this you cannot do. If we try to do this in our console, okay, this is invalid left-hand side in assignment. So we can't do that. We always must have what the variable on the left-hand side, and the right-hand side is where the assignment happens. Okay, this is the first kind. Now to Ramila's question, what's happening is that we also have a double and a triple equal sign. Again, these have implicit type conversions. The double equal will check whether these values are the same. The triple equal will check if they are both, the value is the same and the type. And I think in the case of objects, it will check even if the object in memory is the same or not. And now here come the details. Two strings are strictly equal when they have same sequence of characters, same length, same characters in corresponding positions. Two numbers are strictly equal when they are numerically equal, have the same number value. Not a number is not equal to anything, including not a number. Equality operators, inequality, strict equality, let's see. Relation operators, greater than, less than. Oh, it doesn't give us the plus signs yet. So built-in up. And then here are the operators, arithmetic operators, I think, is what we're looking for, right? Addition. Boolean and number, Boolean, Boolean. Okay, number and string concatenates. Concatenates, concatenates. Let's just check this. JavaScript implicit type conversion. Type coercion explained. Ah, this might be good. Free code camp is always pretty good. Well, clearly this is a big problem. As you can see from Stack Overflow, there are lots of questions at Stack Overflow about this. Okay, implicit coercion or type conversion is explicit. Yeah, explicitly we did it in Python. It's like side effects. I think what's happening is, so specifically go back to Ramila's question. This is a very large question. Probably we could spend a whole day, and sometimes it's worth it. If you're going to be in JavaScript, it's worth going through periodically the implicit type conversions. But in the case of the subtraction, I think that it actually checks the two sides. It notices that this is a number on the right hand side and attempts to convert the left into a number, and it succeeds. On the plus sign, I think it does the opposite. I think it first checks the left hand side and it converted the right hand side to match the string. Let's see if there is a implicit conversion. Oh, we're back here, yeah. Yeah, it's not helping. where was it? Oh, sorry, it was the comparison operators. Also, you know, what's really difficult is it used to be the case that different browsers implemented this differently. And I think nowadays it's better with ECMAScript being better standardized, and especially ECMAScript being implemented in browsers more uniformly. But it used to be the case that your type conversions actually happened differently in different browsers. So you were really in a pickle if you needed to, and it was very important not to do type conversions. Actually, expressions and operators, I think, is a good expressions and operators. I think this is an interesting reading, so I'm going to put this in here for those of you who are more advanced. Things to try, and then take a look at the JavaScript operators. This is, I think, a bit more advanced. But if you have time, this is always a good idea to look at it. Okay, fantastic questions. I have a question about homework for and mentor access. Do we have 1 year to submit the homework and have access to mentor Discord? It's only 3 months. It's a very good question, Consuela Carrington. It's a repeating question. I have to say to you, very good question. Right now we have the mentors for 3 months. Okay, so that's for sure. I am going to ask some of them to stay on, but the truth is we have committed to these 3 months. We can always, of course, reach out for more mentors. You do have 1 year to submit the homework. I would suggest that while the Summer of Code is going on, however, that you try to get maybe a code review every single day from a mentor. Feel free to just jump in and say, hey, can somebody give me a code review, please? And some people will give you very good code review, some people will not, but this way we also will learn from the community who the best mentors are, and we can ask them to remain and give them an incentive to do so. So short answer, mentors for now are only for these 3 months. You have 1 year, however, to submit the homework, and we are really wanting to try and retain the mentors for much longer. Plus does string concatenation. Yeah, I guess that's the higher level. Yeah. Consuela Carrington, or was it the files only need to be accessed for 1 year? I'm a little confused. Okay, yeah, that's a very good point, Consuela. Just to be also clear, on the page description where you signed up for the Gold and the VIP, there is a little difference here. So for the Gold memberships, you have access to the content for the first year. Oops, I'm showing my screen and I'm not showing it on the, okay, here you are. This is the Fund Yourself, Fund Others page where you signed up. And so as we said here, for the Gold memberships, you have access to the content for 1 year. Besides, and you have premium content support and certificate. The VIPers have all of this, but you have lifetime access to the content forever, because being such early adopters, you really enable, to be honest, for everybody else to be able to access the material. So we wanted to reward you. It's okay, Ilona, I Google as you advised, just try it, and I got the question, thank you. I mean, yes, we can always Google, but it's also nice to discuss it sometimes. Yeah, that's what I love. Rox, it's always possible those of us who have been working on the code can also help by then, if not all the mentors. Oh, that's very interesting. Oh, that's a very interesting thought. Maybe, yeah, we can put some speed on the certification so that yourselves could become facilitators / mentors. And then on your resume, it will start building, right? Like you know, first you were participant, and then you were facilitator, and then you can be mentor. Rox, you're a genius. Not just funny, but really, really good thinker. Yes, of course. I didn't think of this. Brilliant. Ladies, I have one more request from you, because would you like to see, I mean, this This is a bit of a strange thing, but you realize that I had to move, given that I graduated from Oxford. I finished my master this year. We're being kicked out of the apartment because they want to rent during the summer. So I apologize. I'm basically broadcasting to you from the ground, sitting in an empty room. This is myself here. But what I was going to ask you, you are the Gold and VIP members, would you be okay if, as a unique or as a problem-solving measure, if I could post this Q&A also to the do-it-yourselfers, because it contains the remainder of the lecture. And normally the Q&A is private to yourselves only, so I would like your permission. But if you're okay with it, then this specific Q&A, as it includes the half of the lecture and interesting content, I would love to share with the do-it-yourselfers as well. Is that all right? Oh, Rox says, suggestion, considering it possible to renew memberships for Gold folks, I would have done VIP if I could afford it. Absolutely. Roxy, you're spot on. We would love to do that. Yes. Well, each year there will be Summer of Code and Winter of Data. So each year, hopefully, you can renew as long as this exists, until we reach the mission. And you know, if we reach the mission of 1 million women, then apparently in the UN, Diane Dane, who is our big supporter, the head of partnerships, said that when they looked at our project, they really loved it, and they thought, why just 1 million? Why not 100 million? So if that's the case, then we will have many more years, and you can continue being part of it and being more than part of it, the creators of it. You are the creators. Well, it's more than that, right? Because the US Gold members and VIP members not just have access to the content. The do-it-yourselfers have access to the basic content. You have access to the Q&As, and you have access to the premium content, the support, the certificate, and the mentors are all for you, to be honest. Yeah. We need to send you a lovely cushion at least to sit on. You're so sweet. Well, no, please, can I please just have good internet in the new place? I've set up, you know, like, you should see, it's actually, I have a desk and I have a real chair, and there's, oh yeah, and I carried the external screen here on a box. I hope, but yeah, cushion is a good first step. Shall we do a moment of mindfulness before we wrap up here? So just center your intention, congratulate yourself. You know, this is, if you're a beginner, it's amazing how far, you know, you have come. If you're intermediate, you're already seeing the differences between two languages, Python and JavaScript. If you're advanced, you are really looking now into the fine details. And refreshing your memory, getting ready for job interviews and also for implementation work. May this be for your own benefit, and may this be for the benefit of your families and loved ones. All right, thank you so much. This was Ilona Budapesti, Chief Storyteller of 1 Million Women to Tech, broadcasting to you live from Oxford, UK. Bye, everybody.